the warrant.
All right, we'll call the September 2017 Management Services Committee meeting to order. Any public comments? And we will move on to discussion of occupancy costs from Iroquois County Public Health Department. So, anybody want to start?
Sure, I will. I believe that when they were first moved in here at no rent, it was meant to be a temporary thing. There was never anything in writing if it was going to be temporary or permanent, but I believe it was meant to be temporary. And I think it needs to be changed to where they pay cost of living to the building.
Why do you feel that way?
Because we can't just donate the building to them. We have no reason to donate the building to them. Everybody else pays. Besides that, we need money for the budget. It's a way to raise money for the budget.
Just so that, for clarification, we're talking, oh wow, echo.
Oh, there's an echo.
Okay, occupancy costs, we're not talking rent, we're talking
Right.
the cost to do the floors, to pay the electric bill, to pay all that stuff, just like what the ICOM and the other does animal control office pay a share, and, I mean,
I think
She's
so.
shaking her head.
I'm
no.
just asking, all the different entities that,
Well, it's important to understand what the entities are. The general fund, and there's been some confusion about that. We talk about the county as if the county is the general fund. Those are two different things. The general fund are defined by statute as just general activities of the county. Falling underneath that is animal control, county clerk, sheriff's department,
exactly.
etc. So you have one set of revenue and one property tax levy allowed for those activities.
entities. Yeah, public health's not
Right.
listed, if I remember, I mean, because I know exactly where you're talking, it's listing the functions and then just
Right. The
But-
Public Health Act defines
a separate,
their revenue source separately. They have a separate property tax, and by state statute, by that statute, that's required to be in a separate fund. They are part of the county as a whole, one
just like
entity, but the state
dispatch.
statute requires, one, we levy separately for them, and two, that it's kept in a separate fund.
yeah, the general fund levy
Correct.
doesn't cover them
Correct.
as far as everything. They have to pay their share of utility or cleaning, the services, I mean occupancy costs, not rent, because we're not talking rent, which is a different amount for like USDA and them. We're talking lower to just offset janitorial, electric. Because
Now-
who pays, do they have their own electric meter or do we pay?
No, we pay it.
We pay.
There is nothing in the statute that says, the Public Health Act, that says they have to pay their own utilities. They have to. But it does talk about maintenance costs being includable
Yeah.
in their levy.
And ICOM or ETS, the dispatch center, they pay occupancy costs, and that's a county agency, but separate. It's not listed under general fund.
911 ETSP
That's what I'm talking, the
pays
dispatch, yes.
occupancy costs.
Costs.
They, again, what makes them different is, again, that's a separate
Right.
Revenue source, and it's not under the general fund. It's
Correct.
separate through the tax, the phone stuff and the,
Exactly.
Yes.
A point of clarification, those that don't know, when 911 ETSB came into this building, 95-ish, they created a bunker there. Basically what they did was at 911 cost, they built a concrete bunker inside the tin building that we're in. Part of the agreement with the county at that time was that they spent roughly $200,000, a little over, somewhere in that ballpark, $200,000 to do that. The agreement was that they would go 10 years rent-free, and then they would have to, there would be some type of cost and associated with them being in the building. So for the first 10 years, they didn't pay anything towards it, and now they pay the rent that they have been paying, or occupancy, or whatever you want to term it as. But they still, when things go wrong in there, when they put the new councils in and the changes that had to be made inside there, ETSB paid for. The county didn't pay for that, even though it was technically a change, or they didn't pay for.
There was some they paid for,
Some
they
they
paid
didn't,
for.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
We paid to put some new lines in there.
yes.
Reimbursed.
And I think they split costs with the generator, roughly, maintenance and all that on the generator. But as far as, like structurally, when they did some moving of the councils and this and that with the flooring and all that. So, I mean, there was an agreement that they got to occupy it for free for so many years, and I guess if you want to break it down, roughly $20,000 a year is what they get out of it, but eventually that ran to where they pay an occupancy now.
As far as I
Since
know, there was
I'm
no
new-
agreement with the health department.
Yeah.
Since I'm new on this board, exactly what was it, how did it work out for the health department to be in that room? What was,
Is there a written agreement?
Rod Copus
I'm
decided they were
asking
going
a
in there.
question, huh?
Rod Copus decided they were moving in there, and they were selling the building at auction.
Are you
Yeah.
done asking your question?
Well, I thought I was.
Okay, you want to answer?
I would like an answer from,
Yeah, what the answer is.
thank you.
We were told that we were our building would be sold, and that we were moving to the county administrative building.
Okay.
We didn't
That's right.
think there was an option. We were told that's what we were doing. The health department paid, I have it in front of me, I got my copy, so you just do pay. The health department sold the building, the old building sold for approximately $40,000. I'm not sure what portion of that went to Ford and what, I can't tell you that right off the top of my head.
100% of the sale of this building came here.
Okay, so, I have a piece of paper here that I received from Anita in 2014 that has the actual transitional costs. So for office build-out, and I have invoice number 99963, dated 6/15/65/14. The amount was $29,854. The office building permit paid to the city of Watsika, $50. Office building paint supplies, Peoples, invoice number 169473 was $128.14. Software, Avila, $9,510. IT support download new modules, Aerialite, $427.50. IT support download new modules, Aerialite, $202.50. IT support transition costs, $1,440. IT support Wi-Fi hub, $239. IT support transition costs, $7,470. Phones, wiring and moving, Goodman, $4,361.50. I have the invoice numbers if you want them for these things. Phones, phone equipment, $700.50 to Goodman. Phones, wiring and move, again, Goodman, $1,960. Phones, wiring and moves for voicemail mailboxes, $595. A generator to Metro Power for $16,000. A generator, and it says B&G Electric, it's supposed to be B&D Electric, I'm pretty sure. $9,870. By the way, that generator that the health department bought for this building, we didn't even get hooked up to. We had to pay B&D again to come back and hook us up.
So all these numbers is what you're saying is that you put into that building?
Yes.
This room here?
And then it has other things, you know, door signage, whatever, but the total cost was $84,806.74 that we had to pay to move here.
Okay.
And we were told there would be no rent. We were told we were being moved out here because in the long run, it would be able to save taxpayers money
Right.
because the lights were already on in the building was already being heated, etc. That was the agreement. So we spent $84,806.74 in building renovation and hookups so that we could function.
The whole problem with all this process was the county board made the mistake of giving Rod Copus full authority to handle everything. The county board didn't even get involved in these decisions. Rod Copus just did it, which was wrong.
So,
Marvin?
I think I voted as a county board member, I voted for this to happen.
Yes, the whole county board did. They give Rod Copus authority to do just anything he wanted, instead of involving the whole county board. It was a big
And
mistake.
there was no lease agreement because we were told that there would be no rent. So there was no lease agreement. And now 3 years later, after we already spent this, now, to me, that's a breach of contract. There may not have been a lease agreement, but there was certainly
No
a
contract,
verbal
like
contract,
breach.
and there was an understanding. And because there's no lease agreement, several attorneys have said that this is a clear breach of contract.
Yeah.
My only 2 cents is, depending on what the 911 board decides to do, then you may get them coming up, asking why they are paying occupancy if public health isn't.
And that's what brought it up, is we were trying to make everything across the board the same.
Exactly. It's my understanding that you were moved in here with no rent to start with to show just how cheap it could be run, but it wasn't meant to be long-term. It was meant to just be short-term. That's my understanding.
From who?
Maybe you want to chime in, Anita. Maybe you want to tell something. It's time, I think. I'm not going to, but if you want to, you can.
Well, Rod did have that conversation with me on several occasions. They wanted to show, we wanted to be more cost-effective for the taxpayers. Rod had done an analysis, and there's a sheet around somewhere, I think I've given it to a few members before, where Rod had made these phone calls to other counties and asked them what they spent on their health departments. And this was when FIPHD was disbanding. And it did a cost, he calculated out a cost per citizen for the public health department and compared the cost of our FIPHD with these other counties, and our cost per citizen was considerably higher. And I didn't know to be prepared for anything, so I didn't bring any of my files. I'm feeling a little nervous because I feel ill-prepared, but there is a sheet somewhere, and that was the point. And each year, you know, when Rod was here, he wanted me to calculate, how are we doing compared to that number? How are we doing compared to that number? That was a concern, to show that we could be more cost-effective. I've seen that sheet. I agree with Anita. I've seen that sheet. But never once did they say, but in a few years, we're going to charge you rent. Not to me. That was never, ever said to me. And Marvin, you were on the board at that time. Was that said to you?
No, there was never any mention of future rent.
Lyle, you were on the board at that time. Was that said
I
to
think
you?
this is the sheet she's talking about.
Rod didn't
There was
involve the
nothing-
board.
I don't remember anything either way, whether it said yes or no on rent. I don't know.
Rod omitted the board completely, and he took full charge. He never involved the board. That was the whole problem.
What are you saying, Marvin?
I was involved.
You weren't involved, you voted to give him a complete freedom to do what he wanted, so that left you out.
Well, if he voted, how could that leave him?
Yeah, well, if you voted on it, it's gotta be in the minutes, so where are the minutes?
I don't have it with me.
My recollection is that there was a resolution, and after the fact, that when we voted on it, that we didn't think that this building was going to be completely revamped, which is what happened, and we had, this little pimple office out here erected that has no air conditioning and no heat in it, and that's where we stuck the people that have this space that the health department did. And the next thing you know, we got walls going up and stuff being bought, and people being moved and everything else. And that was not the complete understanding of the resolution when it was voted on. There's some questionable wording in there about the authority it gave to the party.
Can we get the resolution?
Somebody had to dig for it.
Yeah.
There's no mention of rent in there.
We're talking, well, we need to be clarified on terms.
We're not.
Occupancy costs.
Occupancy or rent, whatever.
Well, no, there is a difference. There's a big
There
difference.
is a difference?
Yes, occupancy is the
Reimbursement.
janitorial, the reimbursement, the clean the
Rent is per
floors
square foot for space
However-
that they,
to make profit.
I
If
do
there's-
believe that 911 has a lease and the term is rent.
That very well could be, yes.
They have a signed lease, and I'm sure that the wording in there is rent. And everyone in this building, with the exception of the health department, help me Lyle,
Occupancy costs need to be done.
Animal control.
animal control, our elected officers' offices, and do they pay rent? They don't, do they pay?
They come
They
out of
fall
the
under
general
general
fund.
fund per stat.
Well, no,
Or-
I'm talking about the, what's the correct name for the little bitty office?
Oh, the
veterans,
No,
Development,
Regional Office of Education?
that's it,
No, they don't pay rent because they donated this building
for $1.
to the county in 1995.
Oh,
Yeah. And there was a big fuss about that. They got moved out of their space after they donated a damn building to us.
Right.
That was Rod Kopus too.
gosh.
I kept up what he did.
Yeah, I know you did. I remember that very well.
okay.
So
So-
everyone, the veterans pay rent too.
No, they don't.
They don't
that's a
pay
county,
rent. That's
By
county.
state law,
Law.
if you look at the Veterans Commission Act, it requires the
Us to
county to
provide.
furnish them office space.
Yeah.
It's in state statute
Okay,
that we have to provide them.
I stand corrected on that.
yep. Okay.
Well, we don't need to make a decision on this today, I don't believe.
what is the reimbursement cost that we're asking?
It's 11,000 or something, isn't it?
I thought it was 14,000 again. I didn't bring it with
Yeah.
me. It was,
11,500, and it was based on square footage.
11,500.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing in writing on the record, any agreement that says you can be here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and not pay any form of occupancy or whatever? Unlike the dispatch center had a 10-year agreement, then start paying. There's nothing in writing.
Verbal?
That's the big question that,
Not to my knowledge. To my knowledge, the deal was we paid for, we had to pay for all the renovations. We got the space rent-free. We
Yeah.
covered all the renovations.
well, that would have happened no matter where.
Well, the
They
county
went,
usually
but-
paid for renovations of any other place. They usually did,
So,
except for
for what?
911.
Paid for what?
For the renovations and upkeep on other offices.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that we pay for renovations. I mean,
I think that depends on what the renovation would be.
right.
Well, we Did we not pay for the renovations
USDA.
with the rent to reflect
Right.
That
The USDA renovations,
reimbursement?
the county paid for, but they pay over $14 a square foot.
Yeah.
I had to do an analysis and have
It's
it
written.
approved by the federal government.
Yeah, they're
That
picky.
it took all those costs. It's all included in there. They are paying us back for all those renovation costs.
And they have a 10-year lease.
10-year lease.
So we're being reimbursed for those.
And the reason it's that way is because that's how the federal government budgets.
And the reason you don't want to decide on anything today,
Because I've heard some things that I didn't know, and so I want to check into them before we, I don't want to do something that we have to change in the future, so.
So I understand this, what we're proposing is to have a reimbursement from the health department for the years that they've been in this
No,
room.
No.
Starting.
no, it'll just
Moving
start
forward.
this year.
December, starting the new fiscal to
What's
start.
this, 11,000, 14,000?
That's,
That's what the reimbursement, the
That's
occupancy cost.
what it costs for lights, gas, janitorial,
Oh, that's what we're asking.
yeah,
Yeah.
the occupancy versus,
for that area, yes.
I don't know if you're aware, the Board of Health did vote unanimously that we're not going to pay rent.
We're not going to charge you rent. We're going to charge you occupancy cost.
Yeah,
If they
well,
voted not occupancy costs.
well, we stopped providing services.
Well, we don't want to get...
Then you're gonna hurt the
we-
people
yeah,
back.
we don't want to get in a war over this. We
No.
want to figure out
I-
some way
but
to figure it out.
it's not in our budget. It wasn't budgeted.
You have money. You have money. You have plenty of surplus money. More than enough, actually, more than you
The
should
new
have.
fiscal year budget starts December 1st, so that's...
Okay.
Minutes from that time frame.
Would be
Would any of this stuff be in the minutes about, from the county board discussions or county, or the public health board minutes where the county talked and said this is the agreement or this is how it is? Is there any minutes from those meetings that you could pull up that would support or deny or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because there had to be some form of discussion and vote and public action to reflect
I mean,
the
I asked.
agreements.
I don't know whether it's in the minutes or not, and not everything gets in the minutes, as you know, right?
I know that, but
So
it is,
I asked, point
it's-
blank, will we be charged rent? No, you will not be charged rent. You're gonna pay for the renovation costs to get out
Okay.
here. But you're not going to be charged rent. Is that in the minutes? I don't know.
well, it would
Well-
help to look that up to help
Well,
us
I've
for
looked.
your
We've
minute.
spent hours looking.
Okay,
Like
so
hours
there's
and hours
nothing-
and hours, and
so
I
there's-
can't find anything that even addresses it.
Even the part that says you have to pay the renovation costs. You haven't found anything in the minutes that said you're supposed to pay that.
It's not in any minutes. There was an agreement that
Oh.
Rod Copus made with them, period. It didn't include the
I've
board.
done
There's no minutes.
The whole, no disrespect, Larry, but the Rod Copus thing, I'm just
Yeah,
looking
right.
at
But
what
there's
is
no
not-
minutes to
Get
look
over
up.
it.
That's the
Get
concern,
over
is
it.
there's no minutes.
I don't believe, my recollection is, and, I'm open to being shown that I'm wrong, is that at the time the renovations were made, it seems like I was on management, seems like we were in deep, deep discussion about making the rent per square foot equitable, being sure that all the costs were covered, and I recall at that time inquiring when the health department moved here, and it wasn't in a board meeting, it was a one-on-one discussion. I don't think we ever voted on any issue of rent. I don't think there is anything in anybody's minutes. I was told simply they will pay no rent, face-to-face in a one-on-one conversation.
Do you remember anything?
I think
That's
the one thing I
Because-
remember is that they were told there will be no rent paid. It was utilizing of electricity, air conditioning in an area that was not used, just wasted.
Mhm.
All right,
I
well,
need the minutes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So D, in trying to move forward, and obviously transparency in government once again has failed here. If you can fit it into your budget, I mean, I don't want this to be a line in the sand of he said, she said, because none of us, especially the new people, know any of this stuff. But you got to get to the bottom line of it. Occupancy, just reimbursement for the things that are used. I mean, is that a doable thing? Don't base it on a principle, just base it on, is it a doable thing?
I think in the future, it is a doable thing. I don't think, I cannot speak for the Board of Health.
Correct.
Okay, they are my bosses.
Yes.
I do
we-
what they tell me to do.
Understandable.
I don't think that, let me say this. The Board of Health is made up of 8 different members of this community.
Mhm.
They are very intelligent, very well educated, very kind and very compassionate people who are usually very easy to work with if you're willing to discuss things with them.
Understandable.
Okay? I think that this has been discussed at length at our last Board of Health meeting. I think that they have made a decision. I think going in the future, this could be handled a lot differently.
So
And in the
presentation
future-
was poorly done. Is that what your bottom line is there?
Well, I'm not saying that if it were a different presentation that their votes would have been different because I'm not going to speak for them.
Right.
But what I'm telling you is that I made a suggestion about how to go about this
Mm-hmm.
and the situation was removed out of my hands when we received an email that had not been discussed in any committee. It had not been approached to me by any county board member. And I received an email, and I had to present that email to the Board of Health. The Board of Health had a very long discussion about this. It was, they made a decision. If you're asking me if I'm willing to go back to the Board of Health now and ask them to reconsider their decision, I have too much respect for their decision and for them. At this point in time, I think that, I can't speak, like I said, I can't speak for
Okay.
them, but I think that the decision's been made. So I think in the future, this could be handled a little bit differently. That's what I'm saying to you.
All right. As far as how it was handled and who, whatever,
It would be nice if...
at this point, I
Just tell
guess
us, this
I
is
don't
what I
want
agreed with
to
them.
be pointing fingers at anybody or causing blame for anybody. I would assume that any email you got had some kind of authority behind it. I'm not sure, exactly what the email was, but someone probably at some point said, go with it. So I don't know. I've discussed things with a lot of people, and,
Well,
I don't remember everything I've discussed. I'll just be blunt.
Okay, so Sherry's question to me was,
But,
in the future,
if
could this be,
wait, one
it
second.
can be handled differently. And if I was in a discussion, which I probably was, and with some others, then I'll take responsibility for the email. And if you want to show it to me afterwards, that would be nice. That's
Well-
where I said that,
First
What?
of all, if Anita had to send an email out and put her name on the
Yeah.
bottom of it, that is totally
I-
unacceptable,
Yeah.
because that should have come from this committee, and we should have been the ones presenting it. So don't throw her under the
I'm
bus.
not trying to throw her
No,
under
it
the bus.
sounds terrible.
I know.
It sounds awful, and this is
I-
a committee that's not working like a committee. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little loud here, but time after time after time after time after time this happens. It's ridiculous. Whatever you presented, I'm not pointing a finger at you, but whatever you presented, that should not have been your place to do either. That should have come from a member of this committee going to your board and saying, hey, here's our situation.
I assumed, I don't go to all the committee meetings, I assumed that email that I received came from someone who told Anita to do it.
So once again, we're back to that whole transparency issue here.
So,
And
when I get that kind of an email, do you think I'm gonna hide it from my Board of Health?
no, it's a debacle though, and you know what? First of all, it needs to be reapproached. Apologize to your board for the way it was done, number one, and number two, go about it the correct way with everybody in agreement saying, hey, here's our situation, here's what we'd like to do, let's move forward. We spend so much time digging the hole in the backyard, we don't know what's going on in the front yard. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm done.
So, from what's been said here, am I to correct in my assumption that this committee did not see that email? That they did not receive copies of that email?
I find in the email now.
Yeah, I'd like to know what it said.
First off, there is an email where I sent the budget worksheets to Dee on July 7th. And there's a couple changes. Remember, only items over 10,000 should go in equipment. Also, the auditors asked us to change group health. And then lastly, in addition, we need to address a contribution to the general fund to assist in paying for utilities and janitorial services. So now, then there was a later conversation. I had a couple conversations with John Schur. I had one with Lyle, Marvin, and John Schur. Marvin, I specifically asked you to go to the Public Health Board before they set their budget and to address this issue. A month later, Dee said something to me after PMP about wanting to contribute to the general fund for Chris's time, etc. And I said, did Marvin not mention it? No, it didn't come up. And I was really upset about that because I felt like I, yet again, got thrown under the bus.
Well, there was a conversation in between there that you're leaving out. And that conversation was between you and me and Anita. And I said to you that we were told we would not have to pay rent out here. And I did not want to have to go to the Board of Health and ask them to pay rent when these same board members were aware that there was an agreement here that we came out here without paying rent. But that I told you that I was willing to approach my Board of Health and ask them for contributions for utilities, for Chris. That's when that conversation happened. But then I got an email from you that I assumed you had permission to send that wanted occupancy costs per square foot. That's not a contribution. That's not asking for a contribution to the county general fund for utilities and for maintenance. That's rent. So let's not leave that out.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to look for this email.
So,
Lyle?
I did copy, I'm sure I copied John, Lyle, and Marvin on that email. I copied them on everything I sent, but I'll find it.
Well, that's what happens when things aren't written down, all verbal.
Lyle?
Well, yes.
Rod Cook just come and say, this is what I did, this is what the agreement.
Eliminate all this stuff.
That would
go
solve
down
it.
to
It would.
the
Then
base
take care of
the
it.
Let the
situation.
former chairman come.
If he would.
The base of the situation is that two prominent lawyers in the community have stated that it will not fly to charge occupancy or rent to the health department. It's a legal opinion that has not been official, but it's been discussed.
I have the email dated July 27th. To Dee Shipper, copy John Schur, copy Lyle Behrens, copy Marvin Sticknall. D, per our conversation following the PMP meeting this morning, attached are the maintenance costs for the administration building and the administration building floor plans. You'll see on the floor plan, the ICPHD space is 2,120 square feet, and the itemization of all utilities and maintenance costs for the administration building is $5.39 per square foot. If ICPHD were to reimburse the costs to maintain its portion of the administration building, The amount owed to the general fund would be $11,427 per year. Anita Speckman. That's all I said. I did not tell them they have to pay. I kept the board members informed that I had spoke to in the past. The email confirms we had a conversation at the P&P meeting of July 27th.
Well,
Yes.
I got the email, and I did not take it to discuss with the Board of Health until we had a meeting. And once we had a meeting, I couldn't call a special meeting, or I didn't feel it was necessary. When the meeting came to pass, that's when we discussed it.
Yes.
Take exception to the reference to two prominent local attorneys giving an opinion. We've walked this path before, and in this county, we have one attorney that this county board lives with, and that's Jim Devine.
And that's what was one of the opinions. And the other one was a Board of Health member.
I was going to guess that.
So I'm not
All right.
seeking outside attorney.
Well, that's the way it sounded.
Okay, just, I understand that, but that's not,
Clarify.
that's not the case.
Quite clarify.
Okay. Obviously, I have handled it poorly. I will move forward from here, hopefully with the help of the committee. I will take responsibility for handling it poorly because it is my committee. And we will try to move forward. As I said before, I heard some things in here that I didn't know, and I'd like to research them. So now we're going to move on.
Can I ask one question though?
Yes.
So when we're sending out these emails and it pertains to a committee, maybe the whole committee should get to see that kind of stuff? We've had this discussion before. Transparency. So this will be on the agenda for next month then?
It will be on the agenda for next month.
Would the former chairman make a statement, Rod Copus, as to what his agreement was? Could you get him to put something or come? Because if there was a promise made, I mean,
I don't know if I have his number, but I don't know,
It
he
would
doesn't
just-
answer my phone calls,
I mean-
so.
or if the former chairman during that time would come and make a statement as to what he promised, that would help to support, since there's nothing in the minutes. Because that's what we're hearing is
You asking for Rod Copus to come back, what were you saying?
to tell us what he agreed to as the chairman. We're hearing it was all verbal, and it was with the chairman. I wasn't there, there's no minutes. If he, it's not funny, because if he
You heard
said, I
her say
promised.
that she was told that we would be rent-free. I'm telling you, I heard that. Martin's telling you, he heard that.
From
I
who
mean,
though? Who made the promise?
The county board.
The county board.
They
But
voted,
there's
right?
no, but you're saying there's no minutes
No.
that show the vote.
If it was voted on, it's
Then
gotta
it's-
be a
then
vote
it's in the
someplace.
minutes.
Yes, the board voted on it, it's gotta be minutes.
There would be minutes that say the board voted to bring you here and give rent-free.
I don't believe we're voted on.
Exactly. But but I'm also hearing that Rod Copus took charge, and I'm not worried about the past. What I'm hearing is he was in charge of the whole health department split, move, bring over here, and that, was he the one that said, you'll be here, come here, you cover renovation, and you can do rent-free?
For life.
I
Who-
believe he did.
Okay, and if he did, it would be nice, since there's no minutes, no recording, if he would be willing to tell us that in person, because I knew.
After that, I think there was only an argument in the county board whether one door should be a expense of the health department or should
Yeah.
it be the expense of the county. We had to bring that up in the county board meeting. I thought it was something you should have been handling on a committee level in their minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's the only thing I remember, anything discussed about the move.
Yeah, because
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but Mr. McGinnis, doesn't it stand to reason that if they're going to make us pay for all the building renovations, I've never rented I rented early on in our marriage from somebody. We didn't have to make building things, that was
All I'm
done
saying
by the
is,
renter. I don't,
whoever the authority was that said you could do this, I would just like for them to say it, for them to come, because I wasn't there. And if they promised it, as if it was the chairman, there is some strength to honor an agreement. I'm trying to find proof, evidence to support not asking for occupancy costs. And everything I'm hearing is not in the minutes, it was
Hearsay.
verbal, it's hearsay. I mean, I'm trying to find a reason not to. If there was an agreement, or if it was in the minutes, or if he would say, yes, I did tell them that, in the process of managing the whole move, I did this, and this is what we told them. It's coming from a former chairman, that gives it credibility or weight. But no one in this room can provide it. They just say, well, this is what I heard, this is what we remember. But there is at least one person that was in charge during that time that, if he would...
I can tell you what I didn't hear and what I did.
Exactly.
I did hear that he said we're going to move in there rent-free because there's space that's unoccupied, there's heating and air conditioning not used, it's going to be there whether we're there or not.
Yeah.
And that's all was said. To me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm not saying there's any other agreement because I wouldn't know of any other. I'm not here all the time.
No, but that helps because...
All right, Donna.
Okay.
And I was told there'd be no rent. It wasn't from county board chairman at that time. It was well after the fact, I think in connection with our leases, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on. I was like, are they paying rent? No. Oh, there was no input from the board on the rent issue. I am confident you will find nothing in the minutes about it. Second issue is, this building is a commercial building, not a residential building. So when an entity moves into a commercial building and they have special needs, they pay for those renovations to make the space work for them. It's with any retail shop, shelving, electricity, outlets, whatever, in a commercial space, the renter takes that on. The tenant takes it on. The renter, the leaser, whichever one, not the leasee, the leaseor, does not go in and make all these renovations to make this place work for you.
So my question is, since
Okay.
nobody really knows,
That's
who
why
authorized this?
we're going to talk
We
about
know
it.
who authorized
We're going to talk about it next month. I want to do some more research but we need to get moving because we have another meeting that some of us have to get
At
to, and we
3.
got to get, and we're just rehashing what
Yeah.
we need to get some other facts and come back to it here. So, all right. Thank you for coming. We are moving on to snow removal contract. You guys, were all sent an email, correct? Okay. Did anybody come up with names of people that we can contact?
Let me get to my...
The snow removal falls in the category of mowing grass. It doesn't have to be paid prevailing wage, right?
I think that's right.
You sent me a letter about that one time.
Yeah, I did. I just,
So, well,
Okay. I was given the name of Trent Sterenberg.
okay.
I don't know him, but that's when I made the Facebook, they said reach, that's what I was pulling up, so,
Yeah, he's in Watsika, he's got a long-term
okay.
business.
Yeah, I was given his name as someone to contact, so, but like I said, I don't know who he is.
Contact Fred Hines from Milford.
Who?
Fred Hines.
I was given the Trent Steinberg name and also Mike from Mike's Service Center. They do snow
Pence's
plowing.
does it too.
Who?
Pence's.
Okay. As many names as we can get, because I know
Who did you say? I didn't hear
the
you.
one from
Pence's.
Mike's Service Center asked whether they could bid it by the hour. I know, last time we had it bid both ways. And it's a gamble either way. If it's a light year, then by the hour is good. If it's a heavy year, then full, and, you know, and that's something we'll have to decide. We need to know this before, when's the budget finalized, Anita?
Well,
October.
it's got to be ready to post in the October meeting, the October finance meeting.
So we basically need to have it next month.
Mhm.
Okay. So, you know, we got until the full board meeting to come up with names, and then at that point, we will contact these people and get it out there. And just, if you come up with a name, give it to Amanda.
You're not just going to put an ad in the paper?
We can put an ad in the paper too, but in the past, when we've advertised, we've had one or two people, and one of those people is not going to be doing it anymore. So
Yeah. Are we required to post a notice for bid, though?
it's got to be
Under
some kind of...
10, I mean, I know there's like a dollar amount, but
30,000, I think, is the threshold for getting bids. but-
okay.
What's it been costing us in the past? 10 a year?
Roughly, yeah. I was thinking 10 was the threshold, but 30 makes
Because I
better
know we don't
sense.
have to for, if we did both parking lots at both sites at the same time, we'd have to, but since we do them on alternating years, none of those have come in. They're always around the $20,000 range, so that doesn't have to be bid.
Okay, when it comes to, if it's a $10,000 bid, but it's a 3-year contract, then that has to be bid? Or that gets
It's
ready?
30,
That much, I don't know.
You might have
okay.
to on that. Might have to on that.
because it's the total amount.
And I don't
for
know
a
how
year.
many are going to want, you know, the ones that haven't done it before, if we want it as a yearly bid instead of a per hour.
They might be happy with the yearly bid.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Make it both a 1-year and 3-year option, so however the wording has to be, that,
Seems like you get more bids when it's 1 year than 3
Yeah.
years.
yeah. You know, let them bid. We did it before on,
People don't want to marry it.
No.
I forget, fertilizer, I
There are
think
more
there's a
bids with
1-year.
one-year
It
bids.
seems like we get more
With
bids
snow.
when it's 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with snowblowing, so I
And they
don't
said
know.
that, you know, the farmers told us the same thing on the farm bidding. They'd get more bids if we bid it out for 1 year instead of 3 years.
I disagree.
Do you?
I heard both.
It's
I've
both
heard
ways.
both ways, but I disagree on it. I think it's better for your property to go for 3 years than 1. They could get by with something and not detect it for 2 years later,
All right.
soil-wise particularly.
Anybody that can come up with something, get it to Amanda. All right, we are going to move on to soil testing bids. First one is Schmid Precision Ag. Bid of $2,075, soil test farm, approximate 4.4 acre modified grids, combination mapping and soil type and standard grid.
What was the dollar?
$2,075. So that was Schmid Precision. Full Throttle Ag Service.
Which one?
Full Throttle Ag Service out of Milford.
Who?
Full throttle ag.
Full throttle of ag, yeah.
Here's the Schmid bid, if people see it.
They've got it, there's broken down, but total is $2,778.45,
2,700,
78.45.
okay.
That's, well, how many acres?
397.47.
Both throttles.
Okay, BCS,
What,
BCS,
BCS?
yeah. Out of Aerosmith and Chinoa,
No.
$2,364.95.
264.
$2,364.95.
I'm sorry, 3364?
23.
$2,364.95.
Why are we all dyslexic?
I'm out of lunch here.
Well, at least they got rid of the echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was pretty
It was like
different,
that
like being in a
yesterday.
cave.
So that's the new system.
Yes, isn't that awesome? We
At
have,
first, when I first thought when I walked in, I'm like, when they get the Will Robinson robot, you know? I was waiting for arms to come.
yeah, we have them up there for
Yeah.
us too.
That'll be nice. Just,
Yeah. About time. Getting up with the times. No saving.
Okay, is there any discussion on it?
Where was the
That's
Smith
all three of them,
Precision from?
Cissna Park.
And what was BCS acres? The acres?
BCS, what?
BCS, the acres on that?
it's all
They're
three
all
separate.
They're all the
acres.
same,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so,
Oh, well,
for the
Well,
county
it's
farm.
They
4x4.
did, only the ones, did the others say what the grid sizes were? First one
That
did.
was
No, that's,
Modified.
an application amount.
This one says
Yeah.
397.47.
It's all for for the
For
full,
approximately 4
Yeah.
acre
Yeah.
plots.
Okay.
yeah. That was a poundage rate. Well, we better double check.
Precision Ag is from where?
Can't see that.
Schmid.
Cissna Park.
Because
Just the
that's
park.
different.
Is that
That's not
the-
listed on there.
Well, this is,
I don't know.
well, they broke theirs out.
Which is very nice because you can actually understand.
That's the 3 bids we
Yeah.
got.
So, they're all going to do that, or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they will.
They will for
Where was the last
GPS,
one from?
because we didn't specify.
Chinoa, BCS.
Yeah, this is, they will test 4.4 acre grid, so they'll grid it out in 4 acre, and then that's how
where's
they,
Precision Ag? Where's that one out of?
And
Where's
it's
Precision Ag out of?
4,397, so.
Okay.
Any discussion?
You need a motion to accept the low bid?
The motion does not necessarily have to be to accept the low bid, but we need a motion to accept some bid.
I make a
What
motion to
was the
accept the low bid.
lowest bid? Who was that from?
2,075.
Cessna Park.
2,000 what?
75.
Really? I just had Anita look, and it might not be apples to oranges because it might not be the same amount of acreage. I don't remember last time she said it was 2383.
2380.
2380, sorry.
Yeah, it could be different grid size or
Could
something.
be. And cost too.
Yeah. So So Larry, you were saying,
I must accept low bid.
which is,
That's Precision Ag.
okay.
Did the name of the tenant, the new tenant, did they bid? She gave you a name of their, did they bid? Or not? Okay, I can't remember the name.
Is there a second to that motion?
He's doing the same thing I did, comparing.
Yeah, I'm just looking to make sure. I'll second. It
Any
looks
further
all,
discussion?
they're all the same.
No further discussion, I guess we'll take the vote.
Alt?
I'm going to abstain because I may be doing some business with one of our bidders.
Hasbargen?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes. McGinnis?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes. County farm management issues, as of now, I don't know of any. The contract will be signed after the full board meeting. Oh, I take that back. Amanda did give me a letter. Dear Iroquois County Board, we understand that you have solicited proposals to lease up to 400 acres of farmland in Iroquois County. If you have not finalized your agreement, SGC Power is interested in discussing with the county the option to lease land for a solar farm ranging from 10 acres to 100 acres for a 20-year term. The lease payment ranges from $500 to $1,000 or more per acre annually, depending on the specific site condition, type of system, and cost of interconnection. And gives the contact information. So,
But the contract we put out was for 3 years, right?
yes.
So that more or less leaves them out for 3 years.
Well,
Well, we haven't approved it yet.
No.
no, this is
for solar.
yeah, this is solar.
They're asking, it sounds like they're asking,
But the contract we put out for rental of the
Right.
property, it
Is 3
involves
years.
all of it, all the
Right.
property.
but
Right.
So we'd have to like do a year contract and then give them that for 20 years.
Right.
well,
At the
that
end of the
portion,
year.
yeah, or however it works. It's definitely something,
To bring in more money, which we need, always need money.
Yeah. Well,
I still think we should only offer it for 1
when
year.
you're,
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
and in case people don't realize, Stephanie Spiros, connected to the Walker Farm, she also is does represent solar.
Yeah.
And, she mentioned after that, we could still work out a solar thing. And so I'm concerned about the Walker Farm, them locking it up and then trying to bring in a solar somehow without
yeah,
proper bids and,
no, they couldn't.
I know that, but I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't,
She acts
that-
like
that
an
connection.
agent for them.
She's a broker. Soltage, I will say, the company that she does represent, Soltage, because I've inquired just to know that company is a top-notch company. She's just a broker. It's just like using a realtor. But,
Well, from the address on that, I would say it is the owners are the one that have the wind farm in Ford County.
no, they don't, I met with him. He's the guy that came in to the zoning committee meetings. He is an agent, a broker, whatever, developer. He finds properties for SGC Power. That's who he works for. SGC doesn't have anything to do with the wind farms.
Okay.
Because I asked him, and he's like, we had an interest in trying to do something, but with them, but two different companies. So,
Okay.
because he's the guy that was at the zoning committee meetings.
Make sure if everybody reads that it gets back to Amanda.
So back to the same thing then, can we amend this and go just for a year? Do we have?
No.
Oh, in the
We
full
cannot-
board
We
meeting.
cannot,
Full board
no,
meeting.
we cannot amend
And
it.
it has to be
It
Well,
would
I
have to
mean-
be rebid.
yeah.
Yes.
My concern, I mean, the more I think on that farm thing is, and Charlie is correct in how we needed to bid it sooner so we could get more people. I'm concerned they just didn't show up. And I was told, State Fair was during the time frame,
I heard
the
about that.
progress show, and I'm wondering,
We didn't do it at the same time that we've normally done it. That's what I've been stopped by a lot of farmers
They-
that said that to me, and they said they really didn't
I
feel
think we
that it
could
was
have gotten a
fair.
better bid.
Yep,
There was not like earlier in the year when it was
Exactly.
being auctioned or however. So
And we have the right to refuse a bid
yeah, we have the right to refuse, and I think,
and put it out again.
and I think we should put it back out, because I do agree with Charlie that we need to put it out sooner than later, like we did, but I think the timing of when we said it, yeah,
Well,
because earlier in the year, we had how many people show up?
12 or 13.
There's a
We had a
lot.
lot of them.
We had,
Well,
only the two
but-
bidders showed up.
Now, it goes back to what a former board member told me when we were in a similar situation. We didn't like the bids we got, and so, okay, we're gonna rebid it. He said, that's not the way the bidding process works. You put it out there, and that's why I wanted you guys to get names of snowplow people.
Mhm.
It's our job to make sure the people get here. If we didn't do the job right to get the people here for the farm bid, that's not the people's fault that actually made it here and bid.
No.
And you can't punish them for following our rules.
It's true.
And the problem is, that guy's got his bid out there already, he knows what he bid,
Right.
you know what to bid against, and that
So-
creates a problem.
You know, that's why I wanted to be proactive on the...
No, I
on
agree
other
with you on all that
things, you know,
stuff.
we need to, you know, when we're getting bids, we need to be out there getting people to come in and bid, and not just put it in the paper and hope somebody reads it.
we did contact bidders, didn't we, for that?
Paper
Just the
Just the
paper on
paper.
that.
and the website.
And on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't,
Probably it would be good to start a bank of the people that have bid it in the past, and then automatically send a letter out to those people. You know, keep that bank
Yeah.
for 5 years.
Might get
or
more bidders here.
Whatever,
Yeah.
and send it out to them personally, and then also do it in the paper.
Well, I don't think it was a matter of when we made the bid. It was a matter of the economics of agriculture and what the interests are.
mhm.
And right now, when we set the election date versus the one in February, or, well, it's April, yeah. April, the prices of grain were a heck of a lot better than they are today.
Yeah.
And when we put the bids out, they're even worse today. So I don't see any benefit having another auction again. You're gonna lose.
We might be
maybe
lucky
the
to
top-
get that.
Yeah. I don't think it was the date, it's the economy.
Yeah.
I'd like to say it was like the stock market, but it hasn't been that way.
Yeah. And,
And they didn't show up because they weren't gonna bid.
right.
But maybe if we change the length of the contract.
I think it's too late to do that.
Well,
It's on that
offered a
full board
contract, we offered
discussion though, isn't
contract.
it? I mean,
we can send the recommendation to the
Yeah.
full board, but it was bid as a 3-year contract. If we change that, then you're changing the contract, which means rebidding.
yes, you have to reject, the full board has to reject or accept.
Yes?
Within this 3-year period, is it a possibility that this committee explore the possibility of approaching the tenant, since they also have an interest in solar, and saying, would you be amenable to amending the current contract? And you can do that by agreement of both parties, and saying, you have the opportunity to bid on X amount of acres in the solar thing, or something like that, and opening a certain amount of acreage up to rebidding, which you would be amending the current 3-year contract, which would leave a certain acreage in agricultural product, and then opening up, and of course then that would reduce the rent. It would be an addendum to the current lease, and it would, I mean, you'd have to be on your toes, you'd have to think it through. But I believe that's a possibility, since the tenant also has an interest in bidding that acreage.
Yeah, oh,
If-
definitely.
If the energy people fever comes on, that's an obvious thing to do. If we have
We would
truly
just-
interest in our putting on a panel farm,
We would just have
we
to
could
make
go in and
sure,
modify a lease if the leasee is, or if he's bought out. Little,
if the leasee is no longer there, then
yeah,
that
that's a helpful, but
nullifies, but,
you can enter in agreement with somebody else for a solar panel if you got on file that you got that much out of the present lease. It's possible, but it's got to be a little cooperation back
Right.
and forth. And some tenants will go to that if they feel they have a chance to rent it again after the solar panels are there in the next lease period.
Mhm.
There's negotiation to be done, but I feel like, and Chad, you've worked on this a lot, like, there's going to be a window of opportunity, and if we move too slowly on this, it may pass in those 3 years.
Oh, it will pass. I've already had a couple counties call me
Right.
asking about the whole process, because,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I was given a thing from the IPA, the Illinois Power Authority, that showed the window of how they're selling the solar renewable energy credits, just like the wind renewable. And
So you have that information?
yeah, it's within the next 18 months, that's all going to be,
Well, if you want to prepare in advance,
I don't know.
if you wanted to prepare in advance, I think you should start by, first of all, determine by Jim Devine how it can be sold, period. There was one question back at one time, it could never be sold.
well, you wouldn't be selling it, you'd be leasing.
Yeah, you
Long
You
term
mean the
lease.
lease
It'd
of
be a
it?
rent
Yeah,
lease,
you would only-
just like farm
But the
lease.
one was interested in 20 acres, I remember. You sent it to me.
Yeah, they're sold
Well, it
cottage.
might be
Just for a lease at
Okay,
$1,000 a
for
year.
other purposes than agriculture, though.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
Yeah.
sort of
can you
solar
lease
farm.
it for other purposes?
That was the question
I'm not
that
so sure,
Jim's-
but still what Jim Devine has to answer.
Has to answer that.
Well, I
Right.
use the
And
wrong
he hasn't.
terminology, selling.
No, but
But it's got to be, that's where you want to start. That
The
would be something you
will-
can start now. I don't, you could,
Mhm.
The will states, for public, basically for
public support
public,
use,
yeah.
So
you know,
vague, and it helps. It's to support the county.
right, it's.
That's what it's
public-
there for.
Public use.
Public use to support Iroquois County to provide
And
services.
It's been 2 years since I read the
Yeah.
will, but, you know,
you use the term for public use?
Public support.
To benefit
It's
the
been
public.
2
The benefit
years,
of the public.
it's been 2 years since I read it.
Okay. I agree that it's kind of hard to remember everything.
And I was
can't
trying to
remember what I
go
did
through a
this morning.
stack like that. You know, you go ask them
Yeah.
for the will and stuff, and it's a stack like
Mhm.
that. So,
That even has to be defined for the public. Some
Yeah,
of the public
I mean-
would say, I didn't get a solar farm because you took it away from me. He says it's not for public.
it's, yeah, I mean,
It's,
I guess, and yes, there is the possibility of negotiating with them, but I think the only way that works for us is if we say, we're going to open this up for bids from others, and then that then takes away the incentive for them to negotiate their lease away. Because if they negotiate 40 acres away and then don't get the lease for the solar farm, then they're out. Because we now have 2 people that are interested in it.
and,
So,
yeah, there's 2 companies, and they pay commissions to the developer or the broker.
yeah.
And I don't know what that is, but I know it's,
It's got to be substantial.
yes. And that's why I
It's
just
important to
wanted
get
to
them if
toss
you can, one
the
of
red
them.
flag out about, I mean, yeah, we will end up benefiting as the county, but
But as this one states, it's not necessarily going to be $1,000 an acre.
no, they have to do the assessment, but
Right.
majority of it's closer to 1,000 than it is 500, just from what he's been throwing low numbers so that he's protected.
Do we want to create that addendum or have that worked on now? That's my thing. Are we going to just accept 3 years and go with it and then go, oh gee, darn,
We missed
can't
out.
do anything?
if we do anything other than what we're doing now, what we would have to do, and I can ask Jim Devine in an hour, what we would probably have to do is throw the bid out and rebid it. Because otherwise, you're changing the contract after the fact. And so you're changing what everybody else that didn't bid, you know.
Unless they, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so then you go through the process, you accept this. What I guess I'm saying is kind of what Donna was saying, if you're going to put an addendum on it, let them know that you're going to put an addendum on it or a renegotiation of it, but why?
If you do that now, after they've given a bid, and then you're changing that.
We changed the public announcement of the
They-
bid,
In
so,
this case, they take their bid back in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I just feel like we're kind of silly to lock it up for 3 years with solar
well,
looming out
that's
there.
where we can, yeah, reject it at the full.
It is our job as representatives of the public to make that farm generate the highest amount of revenue
Exactly.
it possibly can.
Yeah.
yes. And we can still decline the bid. But these are discussions that we should have had before.
We did, I said we
Well-
bid it the last time.
Well, no, I mean, as far as,
And then I
and
said
the problem
maybe a year
is that the
contract.
solar stuff was coming right when we were doing it, and it didn't give us a lot of time.
I believe we bid, had a motion and second to accept the bid,
We did,
and we passed that.
right. The committee did
Yeah.
pass that. It hasn't been passed by the full board yet. Because that was a special meeting after the full board meeting for that. So, but I still think, and I'll talk to Jim Devine about it, I still think that if we try to change anything other than what was put out for
You have to
bid,
reject.
you're gonna have legal issues.
It's on there that you can reject.
We can
this.
reject
Yes,
it.
yes.
Right,
And
so
we
we
did.
can
Reject.
reject
would
it, but
end
we
up
can't,
rebidding
Bidding.
the whole thing.
right, that's what we would have to
And
do.
we'd have to come up with wording, if we did it for 1 year or whatever, and we'd have to rely on Jim Devine for any tenant to say that we have the option to take whatever amount of acreage we want to set aside, but then we are limiting ourselves with the solar people. We would have to say maybe like 10 to 100 after the crop is out
Mhm.
and blah, blah, blah. That would have to be careful,
Well-
and prior to fertilizer being applied and monies being expended.
I know-
You would have to cover all those issues,
Yeah.
so that it's fair to a tenant and the county. That's the purpose of a contract, is to be fair to both parties.
Yeah, I know the solar, like that 10 to 100, they would, on, the way they would design it, they'd be breaking ground in the spring. So that money would be coming soon versus later. But just stuff I've learned after the fact of talking
It
with
doesn't take them long to
Stephanie.
get going then. if
No,
it's
they're ready.
ground
They
that's
are basically shovel ready. It's the IPA, the way they do their stuff.
And I still think
Wait.
it's, before you just say, we're throwing it out and rebid it, before the
We gotta-
board meeting, does anybody have time to talk to our tenant and say, hey, this has come up, it's a time issue, we don't want to go to war with you or anything else. These are our options, are you amenable?
Hmm.
That's the thing right there, that would work.
You're still,
Lyle's still saying you have to rebid the whole thing because you didn't.
because you're
put that-
changing a contract.
Oh, because you didn't give the entire pub.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
still need to go to her and say,
Well,
this
and,
is what the
yes,
issue
we-
is.
She's an agent or whatever, she might go along with some
Well-
of this.
well,
I don't,
it-
well,
at this point, I would
I
say,
think that was
yes,
her
it
plan,
is definitely something that we should contact her about and
Right.
say, this is being discussed, don't be surprised if your bid gets rejected.
Well, and that's exactly
That's a
right. Don't
conflict of interest.
blindside them. Communicate, communicate.
as to why they bid what they
The other thing is
bid
that she's making
also.
X
I
amount of
can't hear
dollars
her.
with grain, and she's making X amount of money on the solar issue. She might say, yes, in a heartbeat, I'll bid that.
Okay. And while it is our job to make the best use of that, I have mentioned it to some residents, and they're concerned about tying it up for that long. And that is something else we have to weigh, is what the people want too. You know, it is, the county farm is the people's grounds.
Right.
So, you know, it's not going to be an easy just let's do it.
They
One
can't
of
go
them,
less than 20 years. You gotta have that for the
It's-
payback period.
Yeah, and there's a 2% escalators
Yeah.
usually, and so every year the lease actually increases.
and while the Farm Bureau was very involved in writing the ordinance, one of them was someone from the Farm Bureau that said, yes, we were also very in favor of the wind farms before we knew what the issues were. So they were cautious about it because of that. So,
Well,
And-
I disagree with your thought about a 3-year lease. That's been custom on the farm
Yeah.
out here for a long, long time. We never had any disappointment
Yeah.
from the public or disagreement with it.
no, not the lease. I'm talking if we did a solar farm.
Oh.
They were, you know, tying...
Well, I'm concerned about that too. I don't know if we have, as a board, power
To
to
do that.
make an agreement to last 10 years.
And that was something I mentioned to Jim Devine, and he was concerned too with that.
Yeah.
We're not on the board for 10 years.
You know what I'm looking at, I'm just listening to that, thinking that whole debacle with the health department. So it's like, there's so many different ways to look at things. Get what
Of course,
I mean?
yeah.
Yes.
And it, because
We're all
they said, oh,
different
this was
people.
said, you know, just look at the big picture of that, it's just like, really? Because that just contradicted
That
A, B, and
Mark
C, and now we're at
Wilkerson
B.
also said that they would
Well, you can
possibly
look
be
at
interested in
different,
helping us do an
one-year
interconnection thing to
Idea of
offset
growing
costs
crops
based
versus
on
a
what we
health
can put on
department
our
that's going to
roof.
plan to be there in that spot for a while.
Well, I know, but get
No.
the, it's
Yeah.
an oxymoron.
But-
It's
Yeah.
just,
That's life, and everything has it. You don't wear the same dress for 4 years, you're out of style, ma'am.
All right.
I have some
I don't
Postmates
mean
grade.
that.
Well,
Okay, we got claims and we got Chris.
I don't know, I
don't say you do that. Don't take me literally now.
I guess, on the solar issue, actually talk to some of the people and find out what they think. I mean, I didn't...
I had
I
someone
didn't-
come up at the
Yeah,
state
Yeah.
fry that wasn't happy about it, didn't want it.
yeah. So,
You-
I mean,
She was talking to him about it.
Yeah, about the subsidies, and I mentioned about giving the county $6 for every gallon of milk. She kind of changed her mind,
She didn't change her mind.
so.
but, you know, find out what the people think too. I mean, you know, when you get the perspective of somebody that was behind the wind farms saying, yeah, well, maybe we weren't right on that. I don't know. So, all right, anything further on farm management issues? Maintenance supervisor report.
Finally.
When's the next meeting you have to be at?
3 o'clock at the
I
courthouse.
got 40 minutes.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
We want to take an intermission? No, I'm just kidding. I'll be quick.
Sorry about that.
First thing I wanted to run by before I move forward at all on it, is something that came up in this building with the fire alarm system. A couple of weeks ago, the control panel there started beeping, saying that there was some issues. It says it was charging trouble. Had Getz come, a technician from Getz came and ran some diagnostics on it and whatnot, and he says the whole board is shot. And now since that was over a week ago, and now the display is just blank and it's constantly having to be silenced, otherwise there's like this Chinese water torture beep coming out of that room. And he gave me some ballparks, and you're
probably looking at a couple $1,000 by the time it's said and done to fix that. It's a 10-year-old system. But like I said, I didn't want to just say, yeah, let's do it. Get your guys' opinion first. I mean, something that has to be done.
Basically, they changed the board, tie everything else into that same board.
Yeah, the problem's in here. It's not with the whole system. It's right there in that control box.
Computer. It's the computer module or the board.
Then you have the money in the maintenance fund.
There's all kinds of money over here. You have the building, so I mean, and we're nearing the end of the budget year, so I mean, it's not that, I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not going to kill us, I don't think. So that's something that is going to, and as far as the system working right now, I can't verify that if there was an issue, that if the oil wouldn't go off in the state that it's in, so I need to have someone come quickly.
Would someone like to make a motion on that? To give them the okay to do it?
Yeah, make a motion to approve the new circuit board.
What's the cost again?
The figure was between 1,500 and 2,000.
Not to exceed 2,200, so we put not to exceed
We
or...
have enough money in the budget for it, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
more than enough.
Is that just the board, or is there labor on top of
That's
that?
included, that's everything together.
Are you including, Larry, are you including the not to exceed, or are you just
Including what?
are you including the not to exceed amount, or are you just approving him to?
Well, not to exceed the amount he mentioned. What was the amount?
He
$2,000?
$2,000.
$2,000.
Or do you want like
2,500.
2,500? Yeah, give him a little leeway.
Yeah,
Don't
give him
fish
a...
it.
No, but it gives you,
Give you a little leeway.
yeah, because you never know once you crack open the mouse nest.
Okay, Barb seconded.
Okay, so we'll take care of that here real soon.
Thank you.
We need,
Oh, got it, call the roll.
Alt,
Yes.
Hasbargen?
Yes.
Johnson? McGinnis?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Barron?
yes. That way it's in the minutes.
Yeah.
We gotta have it in a minute.
Yeah.
We don't.
Okay, earlier in August, one of the correctional officers over at the jail asked me when I was going to fix all the lights in the parking lot. I was like, what are you talking about? And apparently for some time the parking lot had been dark. And I got called in late at night after a thunderstorm to fix a door controller that lightning knocked it out. And sure enough, there was 8 lights in the parking lot over there, and 2 of the 8 were working. And it's probably a good idea to have lights around the county jail at night. So,
Yeah.
I had B&D come with their lift truck, and there was all sorts of deals from bulbs burnt out. There was one bad ballast. There's a couple photocells that were bad, and that's all taken care of, and it's all bright at night now. We spoke of the ash trees, getting bids on that. I got a bid. It was $1,500. I called another person to come, and they never showed up, and so I didn't push it anymore. As far as having that done this year, I don't know if that would be wise. I mean, we only have like 5,000 left in that budget over there. I might.
Are they completely dead to where they're a hazard or not?
It's not a hazard. They're 90% dead, but you know how dead trees are. I mean, sometimes they sit there for 2 years before they start being an issue. I don't think it's an emergency.
Okay.
But so if it had to roll over to the next budget year, I mean, I don't
Wait
think that's
till
a big deal.
towards the end of this one.
There's another ash tree as well up the street here.
Yeah, you can do
Or,
that.
Up the street that way.
Right toward the end of the year.
November.
Towards railroad tracks on our property, and it's probably got a year or 2 left in it too. I never noticed that one until just the other day. That one will need addressed as well. It's going to be fully dead in a couple of years. The bagworms were sprayed out here on these arborvitaes. Rusty Walden sent me a text actually from Nature's View. He said the bags are going to be on there till next year. He said new growth will not occur until next spring. He said in 2 years it showed full recovery. He said to make sure you start scouting around the 4th of July or thereabouts for the next generation of bagworms. So it's maybe something that has to be done every year or 2.
Yeah.
Until you get them under control.
And they were really bad.
Yeah.
He's saying that they were on their way out. We haven't even called. So. So that's taken care of. See what else here. Goodman Communications did some work over the jail. There was a monitor that went out in the visitation room where the inmates can visit with civilians. There was an audio device in one of those rooms that kept cutting out. You couldn't hear. I mentioned the door controller was knocked out by lightning. We had a power outage last week and found out the hard way that the battery in one of the generators was dead because it didn't start the generator. And so we didn't have one of the generators working for about 15, 20 minutes. And I had to run to Napa and get a battery and put it in real quick. And then
The issue with that is that this is the generator for public health and the IT room. That generator out there, that's all it covers. All of public health and the IT room and the air conditioner that cools the IT room. So when the power went out, the temperature in the IT room within 20 minutes was up 10 degrees. So it'll overheat very quickly. So
And the health
Chris
department-
went real fast too.
the health department there's refrigerators with vaccinations and
Oh, yeah.
whatnot, and that need done pretty quickly as well. I fixed an exhaust fan on the roof for the west restrooms in this building. It was just a broken belt up there. I still need to get Anita a finder's fee for that, 'cause she's the one who brought that to my attention.
Something was wrong in there.
Heat pumps, there are really no issues per se. One of the older ones froze up and needed recharged. It's working fine now. But other than that, they're all working fine. They didn't have to work too hard in August. It really wasn't that hot. And we did have a temp start to manpower housekeeper in this building because Deanna's gone now. She started a week ago yesterday. Last Tuesday is when she started. And it seems to be going fine up to this point. Free Hills, I've been speaking with them and we're in the process of setting up time to have the lot sealed over there. It has to be done during the week because it wasn't bid to be weekend work. And it's going to be kind of tricky. Starting on the 11th of this month, there's a jury coming in, and for 2 weeks there's going to be like 50 plus extra cars over there, so it's going to have to be towards the end of this month, early October, by the time they finally get to that. And other than that, guys, just a bunch of routine maintenance, plug toilets, limbs, things like that. Any questions for me? Because that's all I have. Anything I didn't cover that we talked about last month, I can't recall.
Sorry you had to sit here so...
Think of where I could have driven to.
Yeah.
That fund you was talking about having $5,000 left in it, concerning the elm tree. Chad mentioned maybe to wait till the end of the year, and if there's money left in it, then have it done.
Yeah, that's something to think about too. Yeah, it's right around $5,000 left, so it could be.
Wait till then and see how much you have left.
Sure. I'm not sure what the deal was with one of the contractors I had that said, yeah, they'd be more than happy to come bid it, and they just never came and never called. So I don't know if they had change of heart or what happened there.
Everybody seen the claims?
I move to pay the claim.
Okay.
Second.
Alt?
Yes.
Kasbargen?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes. McGinnis?
Yes.
Awful?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes. Any old business? Any new business?
I told Chris, this is just kind of an FYI, but I told Chris that I was by here and the people that are mowing had their little kid riding down
Yes.
between their feet.
I got a call on that too, and I talked to Lyle, so.
Okay, well, I talked to
Yeah.
Chris about it too. He's going to try and,
I've talked to him.
Yeah.
the guy, the mower guy.
Not good.
Okay.
I think we all got the same, around the same time.
Was he mowing with the child?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The little one was between the feet and then
He's
the other one
independent
was
contractor.
On the deck.
on the deck.
And this is on top of the mower?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a call. The lady that was mowing was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Any other new business?
I think it'd be worse if...
I'm researching grants to help our 22
Liabilities.
down the road
Well, it's
issue,
on top of it, you won't.
just like
What's
what
that
happened.
going to do?
Freon, it's banned, it's
You never know.
done come
Oh, yeah.
2019,
Tell me about
2020,
it.
something
That's
like
where I
that,
got
so
my allergies when I
And
did
there's
not from my
replacements
work,
for it,
but
but
combine, I really
I'm
can't-
researching
can-
to try to get some grants.
If we
So,
can get
Are
something.
grants available, you think?
That's what I'm working on,
Well, that'd be great,
because
wouldn't
it's
it?
climate change, you don't want to ruin the ozone.
Any other new business?
Hey, Larry, do we need to set a...
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Oh, I second
I'm gonna
it.
be there.
All in favor?
At the
Aye.
finance committee.
Motion
Say
We'll
aye.
talk about it then.
Hope I can wait. Talking to a nice baseball game.
I'll talk about